right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in the studio with a special guest. But before I mention who she is, I'm joined by Randy Angston. What's up, guy?
Good day, brother.
Good day. All right.
Good day. Yeah, we got a guest in.
And we know what? We realize we don't have a whole lot of guests in here a lot of times because we cannot figure out how to set this damn table up. And my hands are here and they're in the camera and I don't know. Let me move over again. I thought we did this all before.
This will be the last episode, though, at this beautiful table.
We are remodeling the podcast studio this afternoon. So next time you catch us, we will have a different setup in here and we're excited about it. But let's get to our guest, Karen Broadwater. She's reigning from Auburn, Alabama. She is the president of Iron Tribe Fitness with 31 locations. She's a member of the Iron Circle. And my hands are on the table again. But she's in town for an Iron Circle event. I want to welcome you to the Built to Grow podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. We're talking staffing, which is something that's not my favorite thing to talk about, but her face lit up.
Yeah.
Like, really? We can talk about that? Why don't you give everybody a quick, just 2-second background on you and what you're all about?
Sure. Yeah. I've been with Iron Tribe for about 12 years now. So basically I've grown up there. I was in my mid-20s when I started. So that is my background is Iron Tribe. I've played every hat within Iron Tribe, all the way from assistant to accountant to vice president, director, and then now president. So it's been a journey, but there's not a lot I haven't done.
Yeah, 12 years. That's, you know what? You don't hear about that a whole lot anymore. You know, my parents, your parents' generation, that was the thing. But so to stay at a company for 12 years, you obviously love it.
Yes.
You know, I have the utmost respect for Forrest and what he's done over there. And he obviously runs a really good operation. So, you know, give us a couple reasons why you love it there.
Yeah, I think it's the brand loyalty part of it. One, I was a member first, so my life was actually transformed by our product. So going in, being a member, losing 30, 40 pounds originally, and then going to a goal setting workshop with Forrest, because he definitely keeps that a part of the culture. But as a member, going to one was strange. Yeah. And ended up setting a goal that I would work for Iron Tribe. There was only one location at the time. I knew this first goal worked well. I lost weight. And then so I thought, there's something to goal setting. So set another one. And here I am 12 years later.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
I'm glad I asked you that. I didn't know that whole story.
Yeah.
So you were a member, you got some great results. And then you loved the culture. And so Iron Tribe, I know you guys gone through some iterations, in the past couple years in regards to kind of the model. Why don't you give everybody just a 2-second on the model itself and what it's all about? Yeah,
so originally it was just group fitness, very simple. A couple years later, we changed to where we did 2 different classes. So more of a HIIT style class and then more of just functional fitness. And during COVID, right before COVID, actually, we were testing semi-private, ready to launch it, and COVID happened. So we didn't get to launch it. Yeah. And we decided during COVID to just take that time and really take the entrepreneurial mindset of it's a blessing that we're shut down. Let's create.
There you go.
And so we decided to create the next thing and make what we were about to launch better. And we came back strong and confident and have launched it to the brand. And now we've got it rolling and it's very successful.
Yes.
I love that.
And I remember when Forrest mentioned it was like 2 growth summits ago, we kind of talked about the big needle movers in the room. And he talked about, we kind of switched to adding some semi-private, just added a quick couple million to the bottom line.
Yeah, just slide it in there.
That was nice. So awesome. So Karen, obviously I wanted to have you on here. You're part of the Iron Circle. You're my hands are on the table again. Highly respected. You run a tight ship over there. Yeah. And every time I see your stories on your social media, you guys always have the team, you're doing some event. Yep. Right. And so like the biggest kind of issue that, not just us facing, but I was thinking the fitness industry right now is retaining staff, really finding staff. There was a period not even that long ago where you couldn't even get a dang resume.
Or somebody to show up for an interview.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of shifted a little bit now. I feel like that's a little bit we're past that point. But now, like, how do you find and keep the best staff at your facility?
Yeah, I think the question is one and the same. ultimately we end up getting the most people from our people, but I think you need the culture first. So it's the same thing with clients in a gym. You get referrals. You should get referrals. So you should be getting referrals from your team if you're leading from the front and setting that correct vision. And I think we've done a really good job creating vision as a system, not as something that only one person can do.
Nice.
So we're able to create leaders out of all of our people where they can then create vision for their team. But we have a system for that. So anybody could come in and know how to set goals, know how to hold people accountable. And then when the team just feels more unified and like their leader is always leading with a direction, they just jump on board. We're also really good at accountability, which I like accountability because I think we forget that accountability is also positive reinforcements. Mm-hmm. So when you hit the goal, you get X. When you get this, you get Y. And along the way, we all know that we're going to that end goal, and we all want a reward at the end because everybody collaboratively gets a goal, prize, cash, whatever that is. So we just all stay the course and work hard together and hustle and hold each other accountable.
That's a really good point. And in there, you mentioned, gets a goal, a prize, or cash. Yeah. Think different, there's different options there. One of the things that we hear lately is in just societally, other business owners and stuff is either the millennial generation or these younger, individuals stepping into the workforce, they're not so incentivized by monetary goals. I mean, have you guys adapted to that culture for that generation, or like what are other options when it comes to incentivizing them to reach those goals? That's not just throwing money at the problem.
Right. I think it's both and. I think
agreed.
At the end of the day, the unity is really why I think that they work that hard. And it's just the prize reinforces their hard work. Okay. It's not that they're working for that, but they're working for each other.
Are they bought into like the mission of Iron Tribe?
Yes. Yeah. We talk about it, we repeat it. We talk about core values. Like this is constant. It's not just set it and forget it, but there's a system. Like our managers have a checklist they can go through, and it's take care of my staff today, make sure I meet with them, send them a wow, send them a handwritten card. Like it's all very, very intentional on purpose, so that everyone really buys in and feels bought in and is always seen. We want everyone to feel seen, known, and loved. So that's what we say, whether that's our staff or our clients. To be seen is huge, but also to go up to somebody and say, we're $500 away from goal. Let's go sell some product. They feel they're doing it for each other because one can't win by themselves. They all have to hit their goal as a team, not as an individual. So they do it for each other just as much as I think they do it for the money or the recognition.
Yeah, it reminds me of like that team mentality, sports, athletics, like that whole, I like that approach. It's not because it's not just the individual,
right.
And then at that time it can create kind of a rift in certain work environments, 100%. Right? Where it's a you versus me type of thing. And then obviously that does the opposite of what we're trying to create.
Or the AM person's not pulling their weight.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard all of it. So I firmly believe if anyone were to roll out how we do it, like in any business, their team would be successful.
So why don't you?
I was just gonna say, what's the secret sauce there? What's some bullet points or takeaways that somebody could do from just top level, right?
Yeah. I think it has to start at the top, and I think that's what Force and I end up doing a really good job is setting the vision first. So creating clarity. I think a leader has to have belief in whatever the goal is and unshakable belief, and then creating that passion off. Everybody jokes on my team because they're like, Karen's always selling, and I'm really not a salesperson. I'm kind of nerdy, but I'm always selling the vision. Like we can do this. And I think that consistent environment is something that people just don't implement. So that on top of we constantly tie in our client stories. So, I was just on a meeting right before I came here, and we go around, we give a positive focus as a team. Right after the positive focus, the next thing is a life change story. So every person in the room has to share a recent life change because the meeting's weekly. So when we get to the goals, it doesn't feel so impersonal, because our goals are around the people, even though we're talking revenue. So I think keeping that mentality back and forth is really helpful also in leadership.
Let's define this. I think, you're talking, I guess, company wide. Are you doing these on an individual gym level,
yes.
like location level too, as well as the all hands kind of deal?
Actually, the all hands would just be myself, Force, and our corporate team. But then I'm speaking each gym has their own goal.
And so when you say the vision of the leader, we're talking about the leader at that owner
location.
of that particular franchise,
Yep.
right? Got it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably the first place a gym should start is
Yes.
what does the owner believe in? What do we stand for? What do we, and that's the very first week of our coaching program, by the way.
Yeah.
Quick plug for that.
There you go.
But it sounds cheesy, right? It sounds like,
It
oh,
does.
what do I need core values for? What do I need a vision for? Like, why? Let's just go train people today and let's just get some more people in the gym. But to your very first point, the bonding of the team and everybody's on a singular mission is everything. We did that with Brian Teague and his team.
Yeah.
He was a gym owner for he's 15 years into this thing.
Almost, I think 20.
12. Really?
I think he's close to 20 years. Well, he's 20 years in the industry. I don't know how he's owned it.
He was the gym owner that would try this shiny object, and then then his team would like get on board for the first time, and then the second time he did the shiny thing, and then the third time, and finally the team said, "Forget it.
Yep.
You're too scattered." And so once he focused in on that core value, like you were talking about the mission, he's seeing the light bulbs go off. The team's bought in. They share the goals with each other, and so you see, she's lighting up. She's lighting up.
I hear,
about
and I hear that not only. I mean, obviously, you guys have an amazing brand. I mean, corporations everywhere. Some of the podcasts I'm listening to. I mean, the conversation is around the movement. It's around the mission. It's around the change that's being created in societally, not just in the four walls of the business. You said something earlier, and this is something that I constantly think of. We just actually released a podcast today that obviously you're listening later, but the podcast that came out today was about milestones and hitting different milestones in your business. You said the goals are about the people, even though we're talking about revenue. Yep. And that's, I think, part of what we as an industry go back and forth on, right? We look at the revenue and you've been in those rooms where we talk about our goals as far as businesses and things. And there's resistance around celebrating the success of your business because the people that we're around, we feel like we're taking from them. Yep. But when you talk about those things in a way, or you articulate them in the goals of the people or the number of people that have been helped or all of those that equate to revenue, it's the same mission. It's just, we're not rubbing it in somebody's face that it's dollars and cents. You know what I mean? It's pounds lost. It's people helped. It's the same damn thing, but you have to have that mission as a business, as a goal, because otherwise you're throwing things at the wall and hoping something sticks. You know what I mean? So I love that you can see both sides of the coin where the revenue is the goal, but this is how we measure it, or this is how we implement, getting there. Yep. And that's huge.
So as far as, I guess, attracting the best, you mentioned from internal, but let's just say you're at a location and there's nobody being brought forward. Where's your kind of next best?
Yeah, we'll use the normal thing. I mean, LinkedIn, Facebook ads. We've hired some hiring firms and just whatever it is we can throw out there. We firmly believe we will pay for talent. Yeah. So if we can get them and throw every single line in the water, we'll do it. People are our product.
Yeah.
I love it.
You have like a whole department, I guess. I mean, it'd be HR at that level, but attracting talent, like for a mom and pop gym that's got 2 coaches and they lose one, they scramble.
Oh God, yeah.
And it crushes the business.
Yeah.
And so always be recruiting. Might be the lesson here.
Just been discussing the Iron Circle lately is, some of the different things and how you it's in those situations, right? Nobody can sit around waiting for their job to pay them. You know what I mean? It's not like these candidates are sitting at home waiting for us to call them. Yeah. They have to pay their bills. Yeah. But in order to, make somebody or move somebody probably from another organization or something else, there's got to be something in it for them. And but I think building a pipeline or having a list of consistent candidates is going to help mitigate that. And you have to.
And low-hanging fruit, I mean, keep your eyes open. Like, we're in the customer service business. So in any situation, when you're in a customer service situation, just notice the person. Like, some of the best coaches that I have seen in gyms were baristas. Or actually, we have a franchise location who just hired somebody from a Publix checkout line. And it's working out wonderfully. Yeah. So, like, I think looking around you is often overlooked. And being okay approaching that person and saying, hey, you want to come get a workout in? I think it proves really fruitful.
Nice. So let's get into like the features you're looking for in a coach. You mentioned the barista and the customer service. Let me ask you this. If you have 2 coaches up for a position and one's, highly educated, technical, master's degree, certifications, that this type of person, but they're pretty, matter of fact, scientific. Then over here, you've got zero education, zero personal training certificate, caring, loving, high fives, chest bumps. Which one do you look at? Which one's more serious to you?
Caring, loving, high five, chest bumps.
Isn't that crazy to think? When we first started this business, that's all I cared about was the education. We want to be the smartest, the best, the scientific, the best programming. And over the years, we found that the caring, loving coach that was high fives and chest bumps was the best type of coach to have.
I've thought a lot about this. Some of that instantly makes me go back. I think it was Zig or Jim Rohn. One of them said, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
There you go.
So in a situation like that, obviously the adoption of that person as a trainer, as somebody who they're taking direction from, if that connection's created, the results are going to be better regardless. The other half of it is like, there's a big difference between teaching and coaching. And what I found is a lot of people who are analytical, numbers focused, the methodical brain that can't translate that, they're a great teacher, but they're a horrible coach.
Yes.
It's because teaching is, I'm going to stand up here on a blackboard, I'm going to present information. Right. It's your job to retain it. It's your job to figure out how to apply that information. A coach's job is to take you the distance. It's the application. It's the understanding. It's the work that it takes to get the result after the education has begun. And all of those qualities are the qualities of a coach. They're not the qualities of a teacher. And I think that that's something that when you look left to right, and you can just even categorize somebody like that, we could train somebody up in the methodology a hell of a lot easier than we can take somebody's personality and like, hey, you're a slug. Don't be a slug anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So the path of least resistance when it comes to the person and where we need to get them, I think it's always a personality thing versus... I don't want to say always, but I think that's a leading character.
It is. Well, even in work ethic, what I've seen is typically so one of our core values is passionate. And passionate means I love people and I love fitness. So it can't be one or the other. They won't work if it's not together. And oftentimes the person who is very educated loves fitness, but they don't have a passion for people. They might have a passion for results, which is very different than caring for someone. Correct. So the person who is very caring and has some type of fitness background, whether they just play team sports, is the best fit for fitness because they love both.
That's a good point.
Dun, dun, dun. Great point
on that one.
So I think the probably one of the bigger missing pieces in most gyms, because I'm taking what you're saying, I'm listening to what you're saying. You got this organization, and we're really focused on bringing these coaches up, very, very front of mind,
intentional.
There's a system.
It's right. Yes, yeah.
The big missing system for most gyms is HR. They don't put enough effort and time into their staff, into developing the staff. I think your biggest point of leverage as a gym owner is not marketing. It's not programming. It's not a new squat rack. It's your people, because it's 1 to, they touch all of your clients, right? And let's just say you only have 3 coaches, right? You get those 3 coaches brought up to speed. Now it's trickling downhill to every single one of your clients. So take us through kind of like your staff development style over there.
Yeah, so we created modules, which again, I know we're a larger organization, but I still think there's plenty of resources, and we teach it to 1 locations all the time. We create modules that teaches them to the point that education portions of coaching. But the first thing we put them through is what's our vision, what's our mission, what are our core values, what's our story, who we are. They have to go through all of that. Then they would do some online training just for ease of teaching specific movements, coaching cues, the words we use in Iron Tribe as a business. And then we do hands-on on the floor. So typically a coach, so within our gym, we have a manager and 2 coaches, and that's it. That's our model. It's super basic, super simple, easy to execute. But the manager, who in essence would be like a gym owner, that we treat them that way, they get profit shares, all the things. So if you take that model, they are responsible for holding the new coach accountable to all of the systems that they're learning, but they're not necessarily their direct coach. They would help each other coach. They would train them up, but there's specific assignments every week. Like, we really want a seamless onboarding. That onboarding can last 3 weeks if they're extremely educated before, or it could last 6-7 weeks, but we always have continuing education monthly as well. So it's something that kind of never ends. We do coach conferences, we do all of that, but it's, if you can get an employee annoyed by you for the first 90 days because you're checking in all the time, you're giving them quick, immediate feedback. I used to have a natural tendency to kind of sit back and watch people. I'm very analytical anyway. And what I've realized as a leader, you can't do that. You need to correct once you see anything. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it is, hey, you know what? We don't mess with the radio in the middle of class. Like, let's just set it and forget it. Like, turn it up, turn it down. That's it. Yeah. So it's the little things that you want to tweak immediately along the way, whether it's coaching or ancillary things like the music. But we consider ourselves, our managers are coaches of their coaches.
Yeah. John, we don't light up cigs in the middle of the class. Let's go ahead, just put that out, would you?
Is that whiskey? Did I hear the bottle cork? What I like about it, your guys' approach too, is in that you highlight it. You took what you as a brand want that end result to be, not putting that on the manager.
Right.
Sometimes training, when it comes to the trickle down effect, when as an organization grows, you lose that ability, right? You guys have centralized that. It's in a module, it's corporate owned. It's this is what everybody learns. This is our brand. This is our way. This is how we do things.
Right.
Because, it's a game of telephone. Like, you could train that manager, and if they're operating that location on their own with their own thoughts and methodologies and trainings and things like that. Now they're running their own gym. That's not the Iron Tribe brand.
Right.
So I like the fact that you I don't want to say circumvent the manager for that stuff, but it's not their role or their job to implement that training, right? That's huge.
Yep.
And that should be the only way, even at a single location.
I agree.
Even if you don't have, you guys, obviously this was forced. You had to have done this, or else you would be a mess at this point.
You can't scale.
But even with a single location, go back to the book E-Myth, he talks about, putting this as a, prototype gym. Even if you were never to franchise it, you need to build your operation around that. And so with technology today, gosh, get on a screen share and do a video and talk to the new employee one time, and then put them through that module series. Why wouldn't you do that? We have it here. We have it all in Google Drive. It's all dialed in. So like our coach, any new coach we ever hire, they've got the same education, right? That's the kicker.
And not only that, but like from the owner or the manager, the training side of things, nobody likes doing the same repetitive things over and over and over. It's not fun, right? And so like if that manager's job was doing that training every time somebody came on board and it was just the same routine stuff, they're going to adapt. They're going to change. They're going to do things like that.
Much time.
And that's another thing.
And
that's
manager to grow.
Systems. Exactly. Yeah. Systems are doing the work once and letting the system do the work over and over and over. And that's what you guys create, right? SOPs to that point is like when you build the business from the beginning to sell or to scale with that mentality, these problems don't continue, right? You've solved that problem once. You have that in place. Go back to that system the next time somebody's in that seat and it does what it's supposed to do. And I think that's a big gap between where a lot of those independent gym owners are and what they think success is going to be is like the next lead generation campaign. But what they need to do is like, hey, let's create some SOPs, standard operating procedures. Let's create, some manuals on how do we hire? How do we sell? What is the language we use? Like everything matters in a business like that. And especially if you're going to get to a point of scale, if you're not intentional about those things, the business, it's going to be dictated. It's going to happen one way or another. Somebody's making that decision. It's just not you. So I think that systems,
when's Iron Tribe going to bundle up this kind of HR department and resell it?
It is. So it's a franchise.
Oh, that's the secret sauce.
That's the secret sauce.
You can't. So
I'm selling it right now.
You guys are perfect. You guys are actively taking on new franchise.
We are. We just sold one last week.
Franchisees, right?
Yes.
Cool. And you're mostly in the South, right?
We are.
Love the South. Gosh, I belong in the South.
Oh, it's like
join us.
It's in our.
I was just in Alabama.
I tried to get you to come see me.
I was at the.
You were busy.
Busy guy. So Karen, thank you so much. Kind of shedding the light. I think the big takeaway, at least for me, kind of thinking from the lens of who's listening to this, is we're just not doing enough for our HR department. We're not doing enough for development. We're not doing enough to be, in our coach's ear every single week, every single month. So thank you for reminding us that, right? And everybody that's listening, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Great.
All right. That's it for this episode, guys. Hopefully that helped. Go off and create those SOPs. Go off and create your HR department. The biggest piece of leverage you have in your business is your staff. That's it for this episode. Until next show, keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye.
All right, and thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals, and when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.